What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome y'all to the Sham Show. First and foremost, this is a special episode. It's something I'm going to be doing maybe a weekly or a bi-weekly special, This is called the Momentum Report. The Momentum Report is where I take a quick look at the wrestling that has happened or some of the wrestling shows that have happened, and at the end of it, I choose which wrestler or which tag team or whoever came out of that specific show with the most momentum. With that being said, let's just jump right into NXT War Games that happened on Sunday night. First things first, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you people. I was very underwhelmed watching War Games. Not because I was expecting something, like that it wasn't going to be, but because of the quality of the NXT War Games before now versus the quality of this one. It's not even close. It's not even close. More importantly, it didn't seem like they were doing a lot of intelligent booking. Like they were thinking about what it really means for characters at certain points. They were just doing a lot. Don't get me wrong. In a match like War Games, it's always going to be chaotic. And first things first, let me just say, I want to give a big shout out. I want to say big ups to Cora Jade. That swanton that she did off of the top of the cage was amazing. And I heard Bully Ray say this on the Busted Open podcast. Shout out to them. Huge fan of Bully Ray. Hope maybe one day he watches my show. What I was trying to say was Bully Ray made a very interesting point that the most exciting moment of the entire match, the Women's War Games match, was when Cora Jade did the swanton bomb, did the swanton or the moonsault off of the cage. After that, everything else is a blur. If that's the case, that should have been the finish to the match. And I actually rewatched it. I decided to go back and rewatch War Games and see if I was wrong here. But no. And it's nothing against the other ladies in this match. You have so much talent involved in this match, especially on the face side of things. The Raquel Gonzalez side was a lot. It has some of the best wrestlers on the brand right now. Let's be real about that. Cora Jade having, such a big moment, it was awesome. However, it really makes you wonder, why keep the match going after you made her do a swanton off the freaking steel cage? I just think there's so many other ways they could have gone about doing that match that would have been more impactful for Cora Jade to get that win that way. And it also would have been more impactful for the match as a whole to probably have less weapons. I don't think they needed them that bad. I'm not saying that weapons aren't going to be a part of a War Games match, but I am saying, at what point are you getting rid of the novelty of a weapon? Think about kendo sticks. Think about how much kendo sticks used to mean in pro wrestling. When somebody got hit with a kendo stick, it used to matter. You used to see the welts and you used to feel it, and now it's just been so overdone and it doesn't even feel like kendo sticks are hurting people. They just look incredibly lightweight. Anyway, if I had to give a grade for the Women's War Game match, which kicked off War Games this weekend, I don't think I can go higher than a C+. I don't think I can go higher than a C+, and that's not due to the effort of those women. That is due to the booking. I don't think that the booking was strong enough to where those women earned anything more than a C+. I'm sorry. Moving forward, the next match we had was Imperium versus Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. I will say, Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner actually gelled really well as a team here, and honestly, Von Wagner looked the best here that he's ever looked since I've seen him wrestle. But even though he looked good here, every time that he was tagged in, every time that he was in control of the match, things slowed down, and you sort of started feeling the time that was passing. You started feeling like, oh shit, it's been a whole minute that he's been in. You know what I mean? Like you could physically feel it. You could feel it inside yourself. Your internal clock is going off like, dang, time is moving slower now almost. When he got into the ring, that's not his fault. It's just, with the other three guys in this match, their experience speaks for itself. But if I had to say, I would give this match a solid B-. The only thing that I would say they probably could have done better is like, how can I put this? If Von Wagner had maybe pulled out a new move or two, this would have gotten this match a higher grade. If Von Wagner hadn't been so, what's the word? As far as in-ring acumen go, the two men he was across the ring from and the man that he had in his corner are amongst the absolute best that NXT has ever seen. So with that being said, he needed to do more to stand out in a match with them, and he just didn't. So, you know what? Big ups to Imperium, great title defense, and some great athleticism. Some of those spots in that match, like I believe it was Fabian Eichner. At one point in the middle of the match, he climbs up on the rope, jumps from one rope to the other, and then does a moonsault. And I was like, holy crap. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that I've never seen them do anything like that before, but it's been so long, and he's actually the powerhouse of the tag team. So it blew my mind. I think that was the best moment of the match. Afterwards, we saw Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner kind of get into it. Like, Von Wagner tried to turn on him, but Kyle O'Reilly saw it coming because, you know, he obviously got turned on in the Undisputed Era and all types of crap like that. But ultimately, yeah, I can't give this match anything higher than a B minus. Moving forward, Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson in a hair versus hair match. Cameron Grimes is one of the brightest spots of NXT. He's probably the guy on NXT that I wanted to dislike the absolute most when I first started watching him. He's amazing. Like Cameron Grimes is amazing. To the moon. Like, come on. Like, he's over as hell. And no matter what he does, he has this charisma and this ability to just shake off any adversity to where he always comes out on top. He could have lost this match. He could have lost this hair versus hair match and it would have been better for him. And that's the funny part. But honestly, this wasn't a great match. I can't see myself giving this match anything higher than a C. And if I'm being more honest, it's probably like a D+. Not because of Cameron Grimes, because Duke Hudson is just not good in the ring. Duke Hudson is just not tenured enough. He does not have enough experience to really be carrying pay-per-view matches yet. And I think that's the main issue with everything that happened on this pay-per-view for me. Like, almost everything that I disliked about this show had to do with the inexperience of the people in the ring. Had to do with the inexperience of the people being put in this place. Like, they're not ready for this. And it's not Duke Hudson's fault that he was not ready for this, but it was clear by the end of the match that he was not ready for this. Moving forward, it was great to see Cameron Grimes get the victory, shave his head, get a little bit of revenge, but it doesn't really mean anything in the long run. So let's just move forward. Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy for the Cruiserweight Championship. Okay, here's another match that I don't think I can give higher than a C or a C minus. Reason for that, first off, the match didn't make a whole lot of sense to me going into it because Joe Gacy is 245 pounds and the Cruiserweight Championship is supposed to be for people who are 205 and below. So I don't understand what the hell is going on there. But essentially, the Messiah of the Backbreaker, Roderick Strong, retained his championship as he should have. It was actually more competitive than I would have expected, and Joe Gacy pulled out some moves that I'd never seen him do before. But it's still very obvious that Joe Gacy has a lot to learn when it comes to being in the ring. He needs, just like a lot of people in NXT now, and that's the sad part, is that this is just, it feels more developmental than ever, especially because they're putting them on takeovers and it's a 2-hour show now. And you have a pay-per-view like this where you only have 5 matches on the card. But I swear there must have been like 8 or 9 vignettes on new wrestlers coming to NXT. I don't understand what their mindset is, that they're thinking to themselves, yeah, just keep throwing new characters at them, keep throwing new characters at them, keep throwing new characters at them, and they'll keep watching. I'll say this, maybe, just maybe, WWE believes that because NXT in its original form, when they first took it to 2 hours, wasn't able to beat AEW in ratings consistently every week, that NXT somehow failed. And if NXT somehow failed, then that justifies the revamp, right? I think the revamp, it was a horrible idea. I think it's been absolute trash, and I don't think it's really done anything for the brand. I don't think it's done anything for the brand whatsoever. But moving on, I will say I like Joe Gacy. I liked the matchup of him and Roderick Strong. It was actually a little bit better than I expected. But moving forward, like I said, that's no better than a C. I like both of these guys. I'm really enjoying the Joe Gacy character, but it's got to go it's got to be better than this. These kinds of matches, championship or not, are not going to be able to sell pay-per-views. This is not going to be able to get people to tune in the way that takeovers were able to get us to tune in. Because let's be honest, takeovers were for the longest time the most consistent wrestling pay-per-views of all. Okay, last but not least, the men's War Games match. So I guess it's really hard for me to rate this one because I was rooting for Team Black and Gold so hard. I don't know if I can give a fair rating on this match. Seeing a DIY reunion was so awesome. It was worth seeing again. Even though I always kind of hoped that they would reunite in NXT and become tag champs again. Knowing that, Gargano is leaving the company though, that kind of takes away that possibility now. Braun Breaker getting the pinfall, and he got the pinfall after spearing Tommaso Ciampa through a table and then picking him up for his finisher, I believe. Honestly, the Black and Gold side was carrying this match for the most part. Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes did their thing, but Grayson Waller and excuse me, Tony D'Angelo both are showing that they're just too green for a match of this magnitude. Honestly, if I had to say, being completely honest, if Team Black and Gold had won, maybe if Ciampa had rolled him up at the last second and got the pin, I probably would have been able to give this match, honestly, a B+. Without that, with Team Black and Gold losing, with them officially burying the Black and Gold brand as if it never happened, I gotta say I'm not giving this more than a C+ right now. Maybe a B- if I'm being really generous, but I don't see it being higher than that. If we got to talk about momentum, there's nobody who came out of this with more momentum than Braun Breaker. I don't agree with the circumstances. I don't agree with how it went down, but there is nobody with more momentum on NXT 2.0 right now. Moving forward, I'm going to talk about Monday Night Raw. I'm going to try to take a little bit less time on Monday Night Raw. Reason for that is because, the reason for that is because I personally believe to myself that, at least at this time, I have a lot more things that I could say that are unkind about Monday Night Raw than... I'm sorry. I guess I have a lot more negative things that I could say about NXT 2.0 than Monday Night Raw right now. And that's actually surprising. That's actually very surprising. We all know that Monday Night Raw is not the most consistent show. Is not the most consistent show in wrestling right now. It's nowhere near close, But okay, let's see. So Monday night we started off with Kevin Owens versus Big E in a rematch. I guess it's not a rematch, but it is a rematch from last week, and I believe even the week before. But what happens is Big E eventually pulls out the win by hitting him with a big ending from the second rope. If you ask me, if I had to say, given this match a rating, just because of how good Kevin Owens is, this match And the steel cage gimmick, they worked really well with it. I'm not feeling Big E as champion right now. He's not really doing anything with the championship. So, but if I had to rate this match, I would say a good B plus, maybe a B, just to be honest. Moving forward, after after all this goes down, mind you, Seth Rollins, who was a part of the triple threat match at day one with Kevin Owens and Big E for the WWE Championship, Rollins comes out in the middle of the match. He makes sure to interfere in the match and make sure that Big E can't get out of the cage when he wants to, so that they keep going and keep beating the hell out of each other, so that they'll be less in shape by the time day one comes around. And then you had Bobby Lashley come out and destroy all three guys, which is fine with me. I think Bobby Lashley probably is due for another WWE Championship run. I'm not sure that WWE sees it that way, but I do. Next, we got Queen Zelina versus Nikki ASH. There's literally nothing to talk about here. This was such a short match. There wasn't enough going on. But Queen Zelina hit her finisher for the win. It was good. It was entertaining. And I will admit that Nikki ASH and Queen Zelina did work well together. They just needed more time. If I had to rate that match, I couldn't give it anything more than a C minus because it was just too short. We found out that tonight we're having a RK Bro-nament, which means that there's a tournament for the tag team titles. The first teams to face each other are the Street Profits versus AJ Styles and Omos. AJ Styles and Omos get counted out because Omos takes too much time outside trying to punish them. Street Profits are able to get the victory by rolling right back into the ring just in time. Afterwards, AJ Styles is trying to talk to Omos in the ring, and he's like, hey, man, when we're doing this, when we're in the ring, you have to listen to me. You have to listen to what I tell you. You have to do what I tell you. And Omos seemed pretty upset by that, and he just walked away, which may just be the first little glimmer that team is going to be breaking up sooner than later. However, if you ask me, I do not know that Omos is ready to be on his own yet. It's almost like when they put Braun Strowman away from the Wyatt family, it felt like it was done too quickly. He looked great in those first couple of months. He looked great in that first year on the roster, but then it was like, by the time they got out of that first year of just building him as a monster, you realize there wasn't a lot of character built underneath it. And that's what I think they're doing right now with Omos, and that's something they need to definitely fix. We need to know and understand him as a person better before you break him up from AJ Styles. More importantly, AJ Styles is the best wrestler on the planet. Who wouldn't want him as a teacher? Anyway, next was... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't rate that match. What I was going to say was, judging just from the in-ring action, not including the finish, I'd have to give that match a B. If we're including the finish, it goes down to about a C plus for me because I think the finish was a little bit weak. It was protecting Omos, but whatever. Next, you have an open challenge for the WWE United States Championship. Robert Roode versus Damian Priest. This was a very solid match between two guys who really know what the hell they're doing. I got to give this match a B plus. This is probably, besides the main event, this is probably one of my favorite matches of the night. They did really well against each other, and I want to say that Damian Priest is continuing to build momentum as champion, but it doesn't feel like in the 4 months since he's won the title, it doesn't feel like the championship has meant anything more. It doesn't feel like there's real feuds for it. It feels like, yeah, he's defending it a lot, but it's not really, there's no real stories behind these title defenses, and that's what's hurting more than anything, I would say, his title reign. But obviously, Damian Priest wins. Damian Priest wins, retains his title by using the Reckoning. After the match, Priest is standing tall. Dolph Ziggler drops him with a super kick, so I guess that means Dolph Ziggler is going to get a title shot next week. I could see Dolph Ziggler walking away with that title, but I could also see him not walking away with the title. Moving forward, Bianca Belair versus Doudrop. Once again, a match that I felt was too short to be as special as it should have been. If you had given them just another 5 minutes, I think they really could have put on a barn burner. But besides that, I'm going to give them a B minus. This was a solid match and a lot better, even though it ended in a crappy way. I feel like the count out victory here for Bianca just allows them to continue this feud. Moving forward, you have the Edge and the Edge on Miz TV segment. Edge goes on Miz TV, talks to Miz. They go back and forth, insulting each other and talking also about how good the other is on some level. Ultimately, this ends with them challenging each other to a match at day one, which cool. I'd like to see it. Hope it goes well for everyone. But unfortunately, we got to be honest, man. This segment didn't do as much for me as their original one did. The one they did last week was better. This one was just like a little bit of rehashing the same old stuff, and it was just like, oh yeah, they set it up to be a Miz TV segment so that like maybe we'd be more excited. But all it was for was just to set up the match. Don't get me wrong. When you have two guys who are as good on the microphone as these two, it's not like we're usually going to complain about listening to them talk. But if you ask me, you need you didn't need to make this a long segment. This could have been over in 5 minutes. This could have been over in 4 minutes, just making it very quick. And I think the only reason it wasn't over quick was because they really wanted to give The Miz a lengthy Miz TV segment for his return. But whatever. Next, we have the next tournament match, and you have the Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio versus the Alpha Academy. So the Mysterios win this match. This was actually an incredibly competitive match, and I have to say, honestly, Dominic Mysterio is looking better and better every single month. Every single month, I can see more confidence. I can see more smoothness in his matches, and don't get me wrong, being someone who's a third generation superstar, Dominic Mysterio, it's very obvious that he's a third generation superstar. This kid is only, what, 22? He's getting better every single week. He's getting better every single week. And maybe everybody can't notice it, but I see it. And it's not going to be long before this kid is going to be in a prominent place on the card, I think. Maybe he'll be fighting for mid-card titles and tag team championships his entire career. But if you ask me, if Dominic sticks with it 10 years from now, I could see him as a world title contender. I would like to see that 10 years from now. But to grade the match, I got to give that a B plus. The Mysterios and Dominic did a great job here. I mean, the Mysterios and the Alpha Academy did a great job here. Next, you have Finn Balor versus T-Bar. This was actually a pretty good match. Could have been a lot better if they let T-Bar actually use a lot of the moves that he's used to using, that he used to use back in NXT, but I digress. If I had to give this match a rate, I would say C, C+, mainly because it could have been longer, and I probably would have liked to see this go to a no finish just to see this feud continue, just to see T-Bar back on TV, give Finn Balor something interesting to do. I would love to see Finn Balor actually do something interesting. Like, why the hell isn't Finn Balor answering the United States Open Challenge that he's putting out every week? Next, you saw a backstage segment with the 24/7 champion Dana Brooke, former champions Reggie and R-Truth, basically running interference for her so that Tamina couldn't hit her and try to take the title from her. I don't even want to give that segment a grade because I'm so tired of the 24/7 championship at this point. It's better off being scrapped. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you leave it to the women for a while, maybe that'll reinvigorate the division. But as of right now, not even worth it. Um, Main event: Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm gonna give this match an A minus. This was the best match of the night, and it deserved to be in. It deserved to be how can I say this? It deserved to be the main event. That's what I wanted to say. This deserved to be the main event. Both Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch proved why they deserve to be in this spot. And I want to say 100%. The only issue I have with this match is the ending. I do not think that Becky Lynch should have needed to cheat to beat Liv Morgan. Now, we're talking, I told y'all this is the momentum report, so we're talking about who has the most momentum coming out of Monday Night Raw right now. I gotta say Liv Morgan. I have always underestimated Liv Morgan and what she is capable of doing in the ring, but this week Liv Morgan proved me wrong, and Liv Morgan brought to screen the best match I've ever seen her in. So I want to say shout out to Liv Morgan, shout out to Braun Breaker. These aren't the people that I would have ended the week with the most momentum, but that's the way it was written, and I'm proud of them. I'm hoping to see Braun Breaker actually, get some real good matches in on NXT. Like that ladder match he had a couple of weeks ago was pretty good. It was the best match he's ever had. And with Liv Morgan this week, this was the best match she's ever had. I would just hope that from both of them that they carry this momentum into better in-ring performances moving forward. Not that they're bad. I'm not saying that they're bad in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying that they can be better. But all right, y'all, this is the Sham Show, and this was the Momentum Report. Thank you for tuning in. If anything, I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll see y'all in a couple days. God bless everybody.